Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. I'm, of course, your host, Mr. David On Point Huffman, and I'm joined, of course, by the CEO of DailyBlitz.blog, Mr. Christian Simpson. Man, I'm getting a little tongue-tied there. And we're here today to break down week number 15, Monday Night Football, and preview week number 16, and give out our game balls when it comes to week number 16 in the National Football League. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I have also shared the StreamYard link into all of the places. So if you want to join us and talk a little bit of football action, more than welcome to do so. Christian, happy Tuesday, my friend. I don't know if you know this or not, but when I did the preview episode last week, I did your shameless plugs for you.
Did you? Did you put some swagger into it?
I did. I was like, shameless plug number 5.
That's what I'm talking about. Look, David. If you're gonna do something and it represents me, you gotta do it the best. But I appreciate that, man. It's good to be back. I've missed being on. Like I said, just kind of needed that little time away, and it was my birthday too. And they say don't work on your birthday.
No, definitely don't work on your birthday. Even though I always I work in television, so I always get stuck working on my birthday every year. So
yeah, definitely.
It is what it is, man. It's only so much you can do. Let's talk about Monday Night Football, and then we'll get into week number 16, as we are already 3 weeks away from the end of the regular season, and it's just going by at a rapid pace.
That's what I'm saying. It just seems like yesterday. Like I always tell you,
yesterday we were previewing the season, like we were doing all the season previews for every team in the NFL, and now the season's about to be over. So let's talk about Monday Night Football. We got the Rams going into Lambeau, into the coldest game I think in like 15 years in the history of the National Football League, and holy cow, the Rams got beat into a fine powder in this game. 24-12. They couldn't stop really anything that Green Bay wanted to do especially on the ground in this game. Really evident that Aaron Donald was not on this team for the remainder of the season. Baker Mayfield, 12-21, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He for sure didn't have a game-winning drive in this game, as the Green Bay Packers shut the door on him, putting up 5 sacks in this game. Cam Akers, a decent game for him here at least. 12-65, something you can build on for next season. Also leading receiver on the team, as Cooper Kupp's out. Allen Robinson's out. Their whole receiving core is pretty bare bones right now. Tyler Higbee had the lone receiving touchdown. Aaron Rodgers on the other side, a very pedestrian Aaron Rodgers side game. He didn't have to do a lot to win this game. So 22 of 30, 229, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, as this team continues to be a team that can still make the playoffs if they went out, potentially. Aaron Jones, 17 of 90. A.J. Dillon, Thunder Thighs. What is this? Thighzilla? Something like that?
No, I think you got it right. I think it is Thunder Thighs.
I think he has like Thighzilla or something like that. That is his nickname. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground, and then Aaron Jones had the lone receiving touchdown. Romeo Doubs coming back off IR, leading receiver for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, for the Rams, I think this was just an entire microcosm of their entire season. They haven't been good at all this year, David, the way I'm looking at it. And I'm going to tell you this. When the offseason hits, they're going to be my most intriguing storyline, because what are they going to do? And at this point, do you break this thing apart? Do you trade some players? Do you try and regain a lot of that draft capital? Because you remember what I told you before the Super Bowl last year against the Bengals. If they didn't win a Super Bowl, this was just going to be a failed experiment. They would have been considered a bust. Luckily, they had a Super Bowl, but, man, it's just the lack of depth, and, they can't really do anything to acquire players to help out because they don't have draft capital. They got rid of all of it.
They traded away their first round pick in this upcoming draft to the Detroit Lions, so they don't have a pick in this year's draft. Yeah, this is what when you basically sell your soul for a Super Bowl ring, this is what comes out of it afterwards. You just don't have the depth to replace players when they get injured. On the Packers side of this, the real commitment to running the ball, ran the ball 35 times in this game. Also, Aaron Rodgers wasn't really asked. He had a really bad pick in this game, but Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon basically steadied the course. Both of them averaged basically an average of 4.5 yards a carry between the two of them. But yeah, Green Bay, and you'll keep your playoffs alive. You win a game at home, you're supposed to win. Kudos.
Yeah, their playoff chances are very slim right now, and this is the way they should have been playing earlier in the year, establishing Aaron Jones, building this offense around A.J. Dillon, because it's going to take Aaron, I think, a full calendar year to get on the same page with these young wide receivers. I think he was trying to force feed them the football, but now when you don't have to do as much, good things happen. Like running the football is still beneficial in this game today.
Yeah, and not to mention, you leaned on this defense. Also, they had David Bakhtiari, I think, back for one of the first games of the season. So it's good to see him back in the lineup. But yeah, this is an overall thrashing by Green Bay. The Rams are just a shell of what they were last season. They had no chance to compete in this game.
Yeah, it's just been bad.
Yeah. Moving over from as we get ready to close the book on the chapter on week number 15, let's talk about game balls. And I'm going to go first. And I know you probably think I'm going to give my game ball to Trevor Lawrence because he has been actually, believe it or not, Trevor Lawrence has the best touchdown to interception complete percentage in the last 8 games of the season. But I'm not going to give my game ball to Trevor Lawrence. It's actually somebody else in that game, Rayshon Jenkins. 18 tackles in this game, including 2 interceptions, including the game ender. He also had 2 passes deflection, 9 solo tackles, 18 total tackles. The dude was on a mission to pull Jacksonville out of that game. Jacksonville, Rayshon Jenkins, sorry. Game ball from me, Mr. David On Point Huffin. Congratulations. Rayshon Jenkins.
Look at you giving defense a little love. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to an offensive player. I'm giving it to the guy that wears number 9 in Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, 27 of 39, 200 yards even passing and 4 touchdowns. I know he got off to that sluggish start in the first quarter, but what's that saying, David? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And
all they had to do was basically wait on Tampa Bay to collapse on themselves, and they were able to get that.
Exactly.
So yeah, but yeah, man, the Jacksonville Jaguars they're gonna be in the playoffs. I'm telling you, dude. You watch, they're gonna be hosting the playoff game in Duval County. So good for Jacksonville Jaguars. And Trevor Lawrence, yeah, no joke. Statistically wise, best interception to touchdown ratio. So it lasts I think a month or so.
Absolutely.
So he's 13-3 over the last 7 games. That's more passing touchdowns than Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. It's more passing touchdowns. The only one that's tied with him is Joe Burrow, as you just mentioned.
Yep.
So let's talk about week number 16. And man, the NFL decided to do the NBA as solid for real because they have Sunday. But everybody knows that Christmas is kind of the NBA's holiday, right?
Right.
And so they did. In my opinion, I think that they didn't really need to do this solid for the NBA. If I was the NFL, I probably wouldn't have. I wouldn't have transitioned all of my games to Saturday night and only have the 3 games on Sunday. I would have left everything the way it was, and just the NBA just gonna have to cry about it. But they were generous enough to move most of their games to Saturday. So we have a full slate of Saturday night games or Saturday football, and only 3 games on Sunday. Pretty nice gesture there for the NFL. What do you think?
Yeah. Like you said, the NFL has Thanksgiving. The NBA is really Christmas. Christmas is really for the NBA. So, we're still getting some games. It's a really intriguing schedule.
Yeah, it's a classy move by the NFL. I think.
I agree.
Moving on, let's talk about before we get to Saturday. Let's talk about Thursday night football. A game that now is so intriguing because of the players in it and the stats, the standing of these 2 teams. Now, Jacksonville Jaguars coming in at 6-8, fresh off beating the Dallas Cowboys. going into the Jets. I know they just lost to somebody. I don't remember who. If you can help me, they lost to Detroit.
They lost to the Lions. They lost to the Lions
on that game towards the end. They're 7-7. Jacksonville 6-8. Last time these two teams played was last season, December 25th, 2020, Christmas Day. The Jets squeaked out the 5-point victory. But how do you think this game's going to shake out? I'm not sure who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Jets. I know Mike White couldn't get cleared for the game that last week. Zach Wilson was okay in his stature, at least for one game. But I don't know if we're going to get the Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson 1 and 2, 1 and 3, right? 1 and 3?
No, 1 and 2. 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Yeah, thank you.
All right, David. I'm back.
Let's go.
Shameless plug number 1, baby. With Jacksonville, they actually just asked Rayshawn Jenkins what's been the difference between this year and last year. And you know what he said?
Coaching.
Bingo. Like, look, with Jacksonville, I just see a team that's putting forth more effort now than they did all of last year. And you just see guys that want to play for Doug Peterson. And I mean, I thought Doug was a great hire. I told you about this, and I said, look, I think Dougie P, as I call him, it was a great hire for them. He's won a Super Bowl. His players, like everywhere when he was in Philly, his players loved him there. And his players love him here in Jacksonville. And the Jets, unfortunately, they've kind of come back down to earth a little bit. It's been a tough stretch for them. They didn't look bad on Sunday against the Lions, but they didn't play well enough to win the football game. I preview this one on Thursday. Be on the lookout for it. I might even try to go to this one. I live 10 minutes away from I live 10 minutes away from MetLife.
The New York Jets, I think they were overachieving for a majority of the beginning part of this season because they're still technically ahead of schedule for where people thought they'd be at this point of the season. And I think they've come down to earth a little bit here. They're losers of 5 of their last 7 games. In that time frame, they've only beaten the Buffalo Bills and the Chicago Bears in that time frame. I think that they for sure come back down to earth. And Jacksonville Jaguars are playing good football at the right time. All these picks and I know Cam Robinson's probably going to miss the rest of the season with I think it was a knee or an ankle injury. It's a big loss because he's the left tackle of that offense. I will take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. I think the momentum continues to roll, even if this game's not in Duval County. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence beating the New York Football Jets.
Okay.
Moving into Saturday, the first game on the slate, Buffalo Bills going into Soldiers Field and taking on the Chicago Bears. Bills obviously 11-3, fresh off beaten. Oh man, my memory is really not having it right
Miami.
now. Miami. Thank you. Going into Chicago, thank you first off taking the L to the Philadelphia Eagles. Last time these two teams played was actually last season. Buffalo pulling up 41 points on them as they beat the Chicago Bears 41-15. I see much of the same coming up here. I think Buffalo's going to hang up a big number against the Chicago Bears, even if this game isn't Soldier Field. Give me the Bills to win this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Buffalo Bills as well, but like I always tell Izzy, you gotta focus on what's in front of you because they have a big game next week. David, playoff seeding is on the line. They go to Cincinnati on Monday night. We finally have a Monday night game worth watching next week.
Yeah, it sure shit ain't the one this week.
Yeah, jeez, don't get me started. Don't you get me started. But yeah, I like the Bills in this one. I just want to see. No, I sound like a broken record player, but I just want to see if the Bills can commit to running the football. Can they do that?
I don't think they can. So we'll see how things end up checking out. Moving over to the battle between another AFC and NFC opponent. Both these teams coming off big wins as they try to keep their playoff hopes alive. New Orleans Saints at 5-9, fresh off beating the Atlanta Falcons there on Sunday, and then the Cleveland Browns on Saturday beat that Snorefest. Won the Snorefest against the Baltimore Ravens at 6-8 as they continue to try to keep their very slim playoff hopes alive there at 6-8. Last time these two teams played, this looks like a preseason game, but the Saints won 21-18. But how do you think this game is going to shake out between the New Orleans Saints, Cleveland Browns, as both teams try to stay afloat in the playoff hunt?
The Saints just don't do it for me. I mean, I think the Saints are done. I like Cleveland because Cleveland's going to commit to running the football. I kind of see this being a low-scoring defensive battle, but I just think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are going to be too much for the Saints to overcome. I just don't think the Saints are going to have enough offensively to match up with Cleveland. I like Cleveland in this one.
If I'm being totally, completely honest with you, I know we have to make a prediction for every single game, but I don't care who wins this game for real. I know the Cleveland, they could potentially make a playoffs because of the division, and the Saints they could potentially make the playoffs too because of the division that they play in. I just don't necessarily care who wins, but since I got to make a pick, I'll take the Browns. I think they're just a little more consistent. I know what I'm going to get out of them from a week-to-week basis. I have no idea what I'm going to see out of the Saints offense week to week. The Browns will at least lean on that running game. That's what I expect. Elvin Kamara might have a decent game here.
Okay.
I don't know, man. Like it's one of these games, one of those games where Saints Browns is just there's no intrigue in that matchup whatsoever.
No, there's not.
Moving on to a team. So Houston Texans coming into Nissan Stadium, taking on the Tennessee Titans. Houston playing 2 games tough, but coming out with L's in both those games. They're very, very good at almost winning games. But yeah, Tennessee Titans, they're reeling a little bit here. I think they've lost 4 of the last 5 games. They need to pick up the victory here. They're 7-7, and they got the Jags caught in their tails, going up against the 1-12-1 Houston Texans. Both these teams are coming off taking L's. Obviously, the last time these teams played was earlier this season, and Derrick Henry ran it down their throat. I think Malik Willis started this game 17-10. How do you think this one's going to shake out, Christian?
Man, Tennessee needs a win in the worst way. They've dropped 4 in a row, and their chances at the division are kind of dwindling away right now. I like Tennessee, but I think Houston's going to play them tough. Like, Houston always seems to play the Titans tough in Nashville, and I think that trend continues. But I think the Titans, they pull away with a victory. I need Derrick Henry to have a Derrick Henry-esque type of game. This is normally the time of the year when he is kind of getting it going, but he's been kind of slowed down. And you got to get a lot of.
He's had 100 yards rushing in like 3 of the last 4 games.
Yeah, but it hasn't been eye-popping, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, the last 2 games, he's at 104, 121 yards. I mean, he did struggle against the Philadelphia Eagles, but a lot of people do, and he did struggle against the Cincinnati Bengals. Derrick Henry is going to run for 250 yards in this game against the Titans. That's just the way things go. When these 2 teams play, Derrick Henry has a field day because the defense on the other side of the ball is not that good. Even though they played better, their defense is not good. Give me Titans to win this game. A game they desperately need to win. If they lose this game, their season's over.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I'm taking Houston. Tennessee. I'm sorry. I'm taking Tennessee.
Moving on to another early matchup here on Saturday. We got the Seattle Seahawks, who are reeling a little bit here. I think they lost 4 of the last 5 games, coming back down to earth a little bit, going into Kansas City, who haven't been all that good the last few weeks. They kind of let Denver hang around, and then they let the Houston Texans. They had to come back and win that game in overtime. But they're 11-3. Seattle Seahawks 7-7. They're fresh off getting beat by, hold on a second.
San Francisco.
Thank you, on Thursday night. Whew, man, this memory, dude. Last time these 2 teams played was in 2018. Do you know who won that game in 2018?
Seattle won that game because I remember previewing that one on the site.
Seattle did win that game 38-31.
It was a Sunday nighter. It was a Sunday night game. I remember this one.
And I do not think that's the way things will shake out here as these teams match up again 4 years later, almost to the day, actually. I will take Kansas City to win the game. I think Seattle for sure came down to earth a little bit, even though Seattle's probably playing with a little bit of desperation because the Packers coming up.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Kansas City as well. They got to tighten some things up because they haven't looked good. They build up leads, and then their defense gives up the lead, unfortunately. Just think this offense is going to be too much for this defense. And Geno Smith, like you've been saying, he's kind of come back to earth. He's had a good year, but he's kind of come back to reality a little bit. And I just don't think Seattle's defense has enough to double Travis Kelce. And you got to double him, especially in the red zone, because that's who Mahomes is going after. And Seattle can't stop the run. So I can see Isaiah Pacheco having a big game.
Same thing with Jared McKinnon. I think Jared McKinnon's going to have a good game here as well.
I can see it.
Moving on, we're swinging into the NFC. We got the New York Giants going up against the 11-3 Minnesota Vikings. New York Giants coming off beating the Washington Commanders. Minnesota winning that game, that thrilling game against the Indianapolis Colts, where they had put together the biggest comeback in the history of the NFL. Giants, obviously, escaped a little bit against the Washington Commanders there, 8-5-1, 11-3 for the Minnesota Vikings. How do you think this game's going to shake out?
Shameless plug, numero dos, baby. The Giants, that was a big win for them. Going on the road, and like I said on Twitter, and TJ agreed with me, you got to ugly things up when you're the New York Giants and do it early and do it often. Make it a physical game. And this is going to be a tough matchup for Minnesota because they can get after Kirk Cousins. Minnesota showed me why I just don't trust them, David, because they should have never been down 33-0 to begin with in the first place. They just don't wow me. They don't excite me. And out of every playoff team that's going to be going into January, this is going to be the team that scares me the least. Like they have
the worst point differential for a team that's ever won 11 games.
I preview
through this point of the season.
I preview this one tomorrow. Be on the lookout.
I do think the Giants got away with, especially getting away. I mean, they should have had that pick before all the terrible officiating happened. But I think the Giants escaped there a little bit against the Washington Commanders. I do not think they're going to escape this game. I think Minnesota's going to show they're like, hey, we're for real. I think they're going to beat down the Giants a little bit. Give me the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure you love that. Moving over to the Cincinnati Bengals, AFC North versus the AFC East. Cincinnati coming off beating Tom Brady and the Buccaneers going into New England, who lost the game in probably the most tragic fashion I've ever seen in my life to the Raiders. They're 7-7. They're reeling a little bit too here. Cincinnati seems to be hitting their stride at the right time. I think they've won 6 straight games, or they have 5 of the last 6, something like that. They're on a roll. Last time these two teams played was in 2019, and New England put a beat down on the Cincinnati Bengals, 34-13. Do you think history is going to repeat itself here when they play each other?
Not at all. I like the Bengals, but Belichick is going to make it difficult for Joe Burrow because if you know anything about Belichick, what does he like to do? Take away your best playmaker. He's going to double Jamar Chase. He's going to put a safety up top, man coverage underneath, across the board, and he's going to force Joe Burrow to beat him with someone else. And I think Burrow's going to accept that challenge. I like Cincinnati. Look, after what I just saw New England do the other day, they don't deserve to win another football game.
I agree with you on the New England side. I think Cincinnati has probably been the most balanced team in the NFL. I know they don't have the best record in the NFL right now, but over the last 2 months, like they've been the best team in the NFL. Like they've just been rolling. Give me Cincinnati to win this game. New England after that Jacoby Myers. I don't know how you recover from that. I just don't.
Yeah.
From two good teams in the AFC, two other teams in the NFC, we got the battle of the cats here. We got the Detroit Lions at 7-7, fresh off winning 6 of the last 7 games, going into Carolina, who still have some playoff hopes alive after they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers there last weekend. 5-9 for Carolina. Detroit obviously beat the Jets, as we mentioned earlier, 7-7. Last time these two teams played was actually 2 years ago. Carolina put a goose egg the Detroit Lions 20-0. I do not think that's going to be the case here. This Detroit Lions offense is really clicking on all cylinders, and their defense has been slightly better over the last month or so since they started winning these games. Taking Detroit to win the game.
I'm with you. I'm taking Detroit as well. I have no faith or no confidence in the Carolina Panthers. I really like what I'm seeing from the Detroit Lions.
They really let one slip away last week. You got to win that game against the Steelers if you want to keep your playoff hopes alive, even though they're still alive because nobody wants to win the NFC South.
Exactly. But no, I like what the Lions are doing. They're playing balanced offensively. This is the best I've seen them run the ball in God knows how long. And defensively, like you said, they've kind of turned the page a little bit. And, they're playing better. And whoever thought the Lions would be in a playoff predicament in Week 16? Normally, they're done by this time.
It's true. So it's a different type of season that we're having here. Speaking of two teams that are usually, one team for sure lately has been done by this point of the season, but because of the NFC South, they're still in the thick of shit when it comes to winning that division. Atlanta Falcons at 5-9, they're fresh off losing to the New Orleans Saints. As nobody wants to win the NFC South, going into Baltimore, coming off laying a pretty putting a game they needed to really win to keep their division stranglehold alive. There for the Baltimore Ravens at 9-5. This game is in Baltimore. Last time these two teams played, Baltimore won 26-16. Who do you think is more desperate for a win here, Baltimore or Atlanta?
Well, coming into the game, I think it's Atlanta because they still have a shot at winning the god-awful NFC South. But Baltimore needs one of those games where they put it all together because they haven't done that these last couple of weeks. You let one slip. You've let one slip quite a few times. Miami earlier in the year, Buffalo, the Giants, Jacksonville, and you didn't look all that great against Denver a couple of weeks ago. They need a game where they just come out, punch you in the mouth, put the pedals.
I mean, they survive against the Steelers as 16-14 against the backup quarterback.
Yeah, and let's be real here. They should have lost that one, David. They should have lost that one. They looked awful last week in Cleveland, so I think they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. I like Baltimore in this one.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Baltimore to win the game. I don't believe in the Atlanta Falcons. There was a point in time where I thought they might win the division. That feels like light years ago, and it's really only 2 weeks. The Desmond Ridder thing, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. I have no problem with the Atlanta Falcons wanting to go find out what they have in the guy. I think the plan was always to have him start after the bye week, regardless of the situation that they were in. Like, they're 5-9. Even if they make the playoffs, they're not a good team. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. Find out what you have in Desmond Ridder. You know what you have in Marcus Mariota.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the late afternoon on Saturday, at 4:05 kickoff. We got the Washington Commanders coming off getting hosed by the referees there in Landover. They go into a place they definitely don't want to go, San Francisco at 10-4 in Levi Stadium, and Brock Purdy. Commanders obviously first off losing to the New York Giants. San Francisco beating Seattle on Thursday Night Football. Last time these two teams played was 2 years ago. Do you know who won that game?
Washington.
The Washington Commanders did win that game, 23-15. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I guess I can pull them up. But how do you think this game's going to shake up?
I like the 49ers. I like what they're doing right now. They've been, I think, one of the best, if not the best, in the NFC the last couple of weeks, outside of Philly, of course. I mean, Brock Purdy, he's filling in and doing what he needs to do. Like, they're catering to his skill set. They're not forcing him to be Trey Lance. They're not even telling him to do what Jimmy Garoppolo does. Just do you, hand the ball off. And even without Deebo Samuel, others are stepping it up. Christian McCaffrey, I guess he can fill in that Deebo.
Brandon Ayuk.
And here's the crazy thing about Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk Brandon Ayuk is their best pure wide receiver. He has more of a higher ceiling than Deebo. Deebo's more of that Swiss Army knife of the offense because of everything he brings to the table from a versatility standpoint. But when you need a guy to stretch the field vertically, you're going to Brandon Ayuk. You're not going to necessarily go to Deebo.
He's really turned his career around. He had a rough first couple seasons in the NFL. He's really turned it around the last couple seasons, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm also taking San Francisco. I think the Commanders, whatever they had rolling with is going to run out. I think they had to win that game on Sunday night. They failed to do that. I think that will be the demise of their season. I don't think it gets easier after this. I think they still have a game against the Cowboys potentially down the road. This is a game where they get beat down. You have a bad offensive line and a bad offense going up against the best defense in the NFL. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on to a game that I cannot believe is not Saturday Night Football. NFL. I know you did a nice thing. We're giving the NBA their Christmas Day, but what do you really think that people care about the Steelers and the Raiders as opposed to having the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys on primetime television? Why is this not the primetime game? Anyways, I mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles at 13-1, fresh off beat the Chicago Bears, going into Dallas, into Jerry World, and taking on the Dallas Cowboys, fresh off losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And over time, it doesn't appear Jalen Hurts is going to play in this game. I do think it'll be Gardner Minshew. It's really an excellent opportunity for Gardner Minshew to get a little bit of a debut for other teams next season if he plays well in this game against a top-flight defense in Dallas. But yeah, I almost feel like there's a little bit of gamesmanship here by Philadelphia because you chose not to play your starting quarterback against us earlier in the season. So guess what? We're not playing our starting quarterback against you now.
Yeah, and I think both teams are different now than what they were then. Oh, by the way, God, silly me. David, you want to do this one with me?
Oh, yeah, let's go.
1, 2, 3. Shameless plug number 3, baby.
Let's go.
I mean, look, Philly, I don't want to say I'm concerned because they've been playing great the last couple of games, but sometimes I feel they've hit their peak a little too high right now. But they're playing the best football when it matters most. I think that's the most important thing. This team really has no flaws. If you think about it, they have a strong offensive line. They run the football. They have great receiver play, and the defense is fast and physical, and they're athletic, and they force takeaways. This could be the game if Jalen Hurts plays that Jalen seals up MVP.
I think he's already got it sealed up.
I think it's still up in the air. I still think that guy in Kansas City is still a contender.
Man, I actually think Joe Burrow has a better claim on the MVP than Patrick Mahomes does at this point.
Okay, season. You know what? That one I can agree with.
I think when you look at their body of work over the last 2 months, Joe Burrow's been better. It just has.
Yeah, and I mean, and Burrow did beat Mahomes head to head a couple weeks ago. Dallas again. I asked this question yesterday, and I asked this question again. Who are they? Like, Dak did everything correctly to win that game the other day. Threw the ball 30 times, but Dallas gets away from what keeps them in football games. I preview this one on Friday. I might even preview this one on Saturday, depending on how I'm feeling. Right before the game, but this one will be previewed. I previewed the first one earlier in the year, and the Eagles, they forced Cooper Rush to be a quarterback. Seriously, they forced him to throw that ball down the field. They bottled up the run, and now Dak is playing.
Yeah, I think that this game is interesting. Like, I don't expect Jalen Hurts to play in this game. I do think it'll be Gardner Minshew. I think the shoulder injury is for real, and I think you also don't necessarily need to rush Jalen Hurts back to play a meaningless game in Dallas when you have everything basically locked up at this point. Because you have basically a 4-game lead over Minnesota, so they can't catch you, or 3-game. So as long as you don't lose out, you're going to be the number 1 seed. So Gardner Minshew will be the starting quarterback of this team. I think he does some nice things, but he's not the running option that Jalen Hurts is. I think Dallas finds a way to win this game. They get pressure under Gardner Minshew. They make him making some mistakes. I'll take Dallas, but I think this game is going to be closer than people expect. Just based on the Gardner Minshew aspect.
I can see it.
Yeah. Moving on to Saturday Night Football. For some reason, this is in the prime time slot. Las Vegas Raiders going into Pittsburgh, taking on the Steelers. Las Vegas fresh up coming off that miracle victory against the New England Patriots, and a little bit of revenge for Chandler Jones for trading me away when I was in my prime. And then Pittsburgh Steelers obviously beat the Carolina Panthers, I referenced earlier. I do not know who the starting quarterback is going to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. If I was a betting man, I think it's going to be Mitch Trubisky, just because he's won the last game. They're just going to roll with him till the end of the season, try to get that winning record from Mike Tomlin. Last time these two teams played was in 2021. The Raiders won 26-17. How do you see this game shaking out, Christian?
You know why this game is in prime time, right?
No, I literally have no idea.
50 years ago on Saturday. The immaculate reception. So I think that's a pretty cool gesture by the NFL. I mean, it's a history thing.
I mean, you could have still had the same pageantry if you just put it like at 4:30. Come on.
Yeah. But I like the Steelers in this one. I still don't trust the Raiders defense. I think this could be a big game on the ground for the Steelers. A lot of Najee Harris. He seems to get better as the game goes on, especially when you feed him. You got two Alabama running.
And not to mention, he seems like he's finally getting healthy, too.
Exactly. You got two Alabama running backs in this one, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris. Yeah, and then the Steelers defense. I just think T.J. Watt is going to be a thorn in Derek Carr's side.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's almost been wanting to will this Steelers team to win the last 3 games of the season and get that winning record, keep that winning record streak going for Mike Tomlin. So yeah, I'm going to roll with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think that they've been playing a little better than the Raiders. The Raiders got gifted a pretty nice victory like against the Patriots. I don't expect anything like that to happen here. Give me the Steelers. Moving into Sunday football, we got the first game, which this game should be on primetime too. I don't care about the Packers and the Cardinals. The Buccaneers and the Cardinals. So we got Green Bay going down to South Beach, taking on the Miami Dolphins. 6-8 for Green Bay, fresh off beating the Rams. Miami coming off that loss to the Buffalo Bills there on Saturday night. Green Bay 6-8, Miami 8-6. Last time these two teams played was in 2018. Do you know who won that game?
The Dolphins?
No, the Green Bay hung up 31, and they beat the Miami Dolphins in Lambeau. But this game is not in Lambeau, and this is a Miami Dolphins team that's also, like, the Packers are desperate, but the Miami Dolphins are desperate too. Losing 3 games in a row here against these 49ers, Chargers, and Bills. I think they're going to come out all guns blazing, and they need to get something out of Bradley Chubb. That they haven't really not gotten anything out of him since they traded for him. Even though whoever was calling the game on Saturday kept calling him Nick Chubb over and over and over again, which was just insane to me. Like, how does somebody not get in his ear and be like, yo, that's not the guy? Like, stop it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you can let a guy go through the whole game and keep saying that over and over again. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins to win this game. This game's in South Beach. Elements won't be an issue. I think their offense is clicking. Green Bay hasn't really been tested against a team that's actually decent. When they play against teams that are good lately, they've lost, and they're going to lose this one. Miami.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Miami. They got to get back on track. They've lost 3 games in a row. Punched in the mouth by San Francisco. Really couldn't get anything going against the Chargers. I like what I saw from them against Buffalo because they made it a point of emphasis to pound that rock and run the football in between the tackles. And Green Bay struggles against the run. I could see Raheem Mostert having a nice game in this one, and I just don't look.
I think Jeff Wilson's going to be healthy. He should return in this game.
Yeah, and the key matchup to watch in this one is obviously Jair Alexander lining up on Tyreek Hill. You got a top 5 corner in the league against the best wide receiver in the league.
Arguably the best receiver.
Nah. He's the best wide receiver in football.
I think that man in Minnesota might have something to say
look,
about that.
Look. Justin's cool, but look at the impact that Tyreek has. I mean, Tyreek is a game changer. Like
so is Justin Jefferson, man.
Yeah, he is. But look, Tyreek's been doing it consistently the last 4 or 5 years, and he's really proven himself.
I mean, Justin Jefferson hasn't been. I mean, he's been in the league 3 years. He's put up record type numbers.
I'm not saying that, but I mean, I think there were a lot of question marks about Tyreek Hill. Can he do it without Patrick Mahomes? And he has.
Yeah, I guess that's true. For my money, I'd rather have Justin Jefferson, but I think it's close. And then to the afternoon game, we got the Denver Broncos. Probably won't have Russell Wilson in this game. I don't understand why you'd play him again this year. Going into Los Angeles, the 2 teams that thought this would be like a playoff preview or like a Super Bowl preview, even for a lot of people who thought the Denver Broncos were going to be like this great football team. Me, not included in that group. I always thought Denver had some major flaws. I did not think Russell Wilson was going to solve. That's been very evident so far this season. And the Rams, obviously, when the injuries started piling up, they just can't replace anybody. Baker Mayfield still trying out for a team next season, but Denver, Los Angeles Rams, last time these 2 teams played, August 28th, 2021, the Denver Broncos won this game 17-12. And I actually think that's kind of how things are going to shake out here as well. I think the Denver Broncos are going to win a muddy, messy game where 17 points will probably be enough for them to win that game. And for Denver, both these teams, the incentive to win continues to be a thing because you don't have your draft pick and you don't want to give away a top 5 pick. So give me Denver, I think.
God, do we really have to pick this one? Really?
Yeah. Make a selection. The next 2 games are gonna be,
the next 3, if we're being honest. I'm looking at this whole slate right here. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna take Denver. I think they do maybe one or two more things better than the Rams to win this one. Look, the NFL dropped the ball. We could have put the Eagles and Cowboys here.
Right.
Like, come on, man. Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I would have rather have had the Dolphins and the Packers be the primetime game. Like, you flex games all the time. You can't flex us out of this disaster that's going to be.
Yeah, you're right.
Speaking of prime time, on Sunday after we just got done trashing this game here, let's make a pick on it. So Tampa Bay coming off losing to the Cincinnati Bengals. Arizona, fresh off losing, I don't even remember who they played. They got lost to Denver because they don't have their quarterback anymore either.
Yeah, Kyler's out.
Yeah, and it's Trace McSorley probably for the rest of the way. That's boy's dealing with a concussion. I can't imagine he's going to come back. Tampa Bay 6-8, Arizona at 4-10. Last time these two teams played, Tampa Bay squeaked out a 3-point victory on November 9th, 2019, 30-27. But how do you think this one's going to shake out?
I think, with Tampa, the formula for them to win, they got to establish the run. They got to get Rashad White and Leonard Fournette going. Because when they don't, it's going to be a long day for them. And they did a pretty good job at running the ball in the first half. And then Todd Bowles just went away from it. The Cardinals, give me Tampa. I don't see this being high scoring by any means. I think at least between 20 and 22 points is what's going to win this game.
I'll agree with you on taking Tampa Bay. The Arizona, especially without Kyler Murray, I just don't think they're going to be able to put up enough points to beat Tampa Bay. I don't think even 20 points is going to be 20 points will be more than enough. I think if you get to 17 points, you'll win this game. Give me Tampa Bay. A game they kind of have to win.
Yeah, and I think, Cliff Kingsbury's getting that pink slip. I think he's going to be the first coach fired.
Oh, you already had one coach fired, but
I mean, but I think he's going to be. Yeah, I think he's going to get that first pink slip.
I think he has some opportunities where he can make an argument that, I didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. I didn't have Hollywood Brown. I don't have Kyler Murray. I honestly think he's going to get back one. I think he's going to get one more season.
I just think he fits more of the college game than he does in the NFL.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at any stretch of the imagination if he does get fired, and I think it would be totally warranted if he does get fired. All the hype like this season and the playoff game last season for how this stuff has gone, I wouldn't be shocked if he got fired. But I think he could make an argument like, hey, like if I had an opportunity to actually coach the team that was put to me on paper, I think we have a good team here. I just have never had that opportunity.
Right.
So we'll see. Moving over to Monday Night Football, we got the Los Angeles Chargers guided by Justin Herbert, fresh off beating. Man, my memory is really not having it right now. Tennessee Titans, thank you very much. Thank you. The last second field goal by Cameron Dicker, the kicker. Going into Indy after the collapse they went through on Saturday, 4-9-1. Matt Ryan, the quarterback there. So the last time these two teams played was 2 years ago, September. That's 3 years ago. Man, time. 30-24 victory for the Chargers. I expect something very similar to this, only minus the 24 points for the Colts. I think this is going to be a beatdown. Give me the Chargers. I think they'll cover whatever the spread is too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking the Chargers. I don't think anything else really needs to be said.
I also think the Jeff Saturday experiment is going to be quickly over.
Yeah, I could have coached that team. We'd be better right now.
I don't know about all that, but
look. At least my guys will show some fight. But then again, we don't have to worry about me coaching because you miss me on this show.
Yeah, I would miss you on this show.
Thank you.
I also miss hosting this show. So, but yeah, that's been our Week 15 Monday Night Football recap. We gave it our game balls, and we did our Week number 16 preview and predictions. So please let us know down in the comment section what do you think how we did on our predictions. By the way, congratulations on winning the Pick'em League this week. Last week, I'm assuming you did actually, because I changed my pick to the Rams, and I'm assuming you stay with the Packers.
I sure did.
Yeah, because I didn't change it, because I was like, oh, I'm either gonna beat you or we're gonna tie. So I was like, I'm gonna roll the dice with beating you. And
there you go.
It didn't work. That's actually the last 2 weeks that's happened to me, actually.
Oh, come on, man! Like you got to stick to your guns, man.
Like we were tied, and we had. I changed my pick. I don't remember who was playing last Monday, and I changed it to whoever. Like it was a really.
I think it was New England and Arizona last.
Yeah. I did. I changed my pick, and like I was like, oh man, it just went downhill. But yeah, that's been our Week 15 Monday Night Football recap. 16 predictions. I've been David Huffman, right from the Daily Blitz.blog. Mr. Christian Simpson and Christian. What we do here at the Prime, my friend.
We bring the heat.
Yes, sir. We need it here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, my friend. It's 25 degrees here.
Look, I think it's like 30-ish.
And it's only supposed to get worse. There's a huge winter storm coming through.
Yeah, let me see what it is here because I feel like bragging.
Well, while he does that, also please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. All right, go ahead.
It's 30 here, so yeah, we need that heat too.
Yeah, for real. We'll be back here tomorrow with me and Izzy doing Fantasy Football Weekly, and we're going to be doing the crossover with me and TJ, breaking down what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets, Chicago Bulls, and All-Star voting is open now for starters. So keep an eye on that content. I'm David Huffman right there. Christian Simpson. We'll see you later.
Later.